Well, it's nice to have you here and to have this opportunity to share with you for a moment, where you are watching this in the morning, afternoon, or even on the evening. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch and listen this thought for the day here at Christ the Rock social media. Please feel free to let me know what your thoughts are and on the comments at the bottom of the video. If I was going to put a title to this thought for the day of today, probably it would be something like, I know something you don't. You see, when I was a kid, I used to play superheroes at playtime at school. Every Saturday I used to run as soon as I got my pocket money. I was used to run to a kiosk or to a shop where they were used to sell magazines, when I would buy the weekly edition of a series of heroes. This was because during the coming week we would reenact the story played in the weekly edition during our break time of school. Not everyone would buy the magazine, and certainly not all of my friends used to buy it at the beginning of the week. Neither was I every time, but I loved to do it. I used to love having inside information and even more to rub it in the nose of my friends. And I would like to say something like, but he doesn't do this, or interrupt them with some detail that I had learned from the latest edition of the magazine. There is plenty about God that remains a mystery to us, but some things have been made abundantly clear, such as the fact that Jesus Christ is the Savior of the world. If he wasn't who he said he was, then from my point of view, he certainly would be the biggest liar that he ever walked on earth. See, in the New Testament, we find a manuscript which is called a letter. And this letter we call the letter to the Colossians. This was a letter that Paul wrote to the church in Colossae. In that city, a group of Gnostics were trying to persuade followers of Jesus that only those who possessed a special mystical knowledge revealed to them by God would be able to understand his plan, or they would be the only ones able to find him and eventually to be saved. They were intellectually and spiritually arrogant, and they loved to shout the line, I know something you don't. Paul wrote his letter to the Colossians to make one thing abundantly clear, and that is that God has made abundantly clear the mystery of God. God's will is revealed in Jesus, who was offered for all, who can be known by all. In other words, sitting around debating about mystical experiences or mysterious doctrinal and prophetic secrets is pointless. Paul puts it like this: I want them to have a complete confidence that they can understand God's mysterious plan, which is Christ himself. Paul was directly referring to the rumors of the Gnostics that they alone understood God's mysterious ways. What everyone needs to know is that God's simple plan for our lives and for our future is made known. We all need a relationship with Jesus Christ. He is the mystery that we're looking for. He is God's plan that we are all searching for. He is God's purpose. He is God's idea. We know God by knowing Jesus. We know God's will by knowing Jesus. We receive God's empowering by knowing Jesus. So, it is a question for you. Do you want to know God? Would you like to find God? So here is the answer. Get to know Jesus. It's that simple. But the Jesus you need to get to know is not a complicated one. It's not a mystical person. It's not a religious Jesus. The one that you need to really get to know is the historical Jesus. Who he was, what he did, and why it matters. Have you ever stopped to think or even question that if who Jesus said who he was is true, or what he said is true, or if what he did is true, then what are the implications for you? Where does this leave you and me? The question really is, have you placed your faith and trust in Jesus Christ alone? Have you made a decision to receive him and begin a relationship with him? If you haven't, then let me encourage you to discover what millions of people across the world know and have discovered. Let me guide you. Simply get a Bible and begin to read one of the Gospels. Forget everything else. Read Matthew, read Mark, or Luke, or John. And you can always come back here and let me know your thoughts. Or you can even ask me questions. I really do hope you do. Meanwhile, I'll be cheering for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I hope you find the real Jesus and you have a great day.